Finally, we came to a small cell with a tiny window, high up on one wall. The soldiers quickly searched us, then pushed us inside. The door clanged mercilessly behind us, and with much flourishing of keys, the soldiers locked it and went away, their footsteps echoing along the stone floors until we could hear them no longer. They had left us what was little more than a candle end to light us in this terrible place. There were 2 straw pallets with a thin blanket on each, 1 chair, and a bucket. The place smelled of damp, and it occurred to me that it was near the river. With one accord, we put our arms around each other. "At least Uni has got the protections," Wise Child said. "Which also means that we haven't got them," I pointed out. "Do you miss the silver moon?" "I do," said Wise Child. "I feel sort of naked without it." And the egg was a comforting thing to hold in one's pocket. She paused. "Thank you for not saying 'I told you so,' for not pointing out the risks I was taking with the prince." "But I'm sure the prince didn't betray us," I said. "It was just the frequency of our visits that made Marut suspicious and search our things. She must have seen us that time in the hallway." "Odd to think that it was one of the protections that gave us away," said Wise Child after a silence. "The tools of the Doran, as they are known, do not usually work to bring a Doran into danger. It makes me feel that something good must be going on that we don't know about. One good thing will be if the prince uses the cloth of disguise." "Do you think he will? It's asking a lot of someone who does not know much about magic, even if he is the brother of a Doran." We were both tired after the terrors of the night, though also too stressed to sleep easily. We put the pallets side by side and lay down on them. They were hard, with some of the cold of the floor coming through. "You do entirely believe in your vocation as a Doran?" I said to Wise Child. It was really a question, since thinking about Dorans seemed one of the few possibilities of hope in our situation. "Completely," she said. For a while I wavered back there, after the trial and on the journey to Cornwall, but then the feeling bounced back stronger than ever. I found her certainty oddly comforting, although no opportunity to use her power presented itself. "I'd give anything for a bite to eat," Wise Child said, echoing my own thoughts. Our meager supper seemed years away. As if one melancholy thought inspired another, after a bit she said, "They may torture us. In fact, knowing Marut, she almost certainly will." "I know." My stomach contracted with fear. "What mustn't we say?" "Anything about Castle Dor." "We shall have to confess to something, if only to look as if we are cooperating." "Suppose we said we felt sorry for the prince, who did not seem very happy, and thought he should be allowed to take part in the horse race." "But it is the protection that will interest Marut most. What is a Doran doing at Caerleon? I cannot think of an answer to that." Perhaps fear made us sleepy, because soon we were half asleep on our uncomfortable beds. We had left the candle alight. It was near to extinction anyway. And as it guttered, it threw weird shadows on the ceiling. "Colman," Wise Child suddenly hissed, "there's somebody coming." We could hear echoing footsteps descending the stairs, though the noise was not like the boots of soldiers. "Not Marut," I said fervently. "She's not well enough to cope with the steps," Wise Child said comfortingly, but all the same we waited nervously. Soon we could see the light of a lantern approaching. Suddenly, to our amazement, we saw Uni. To our delight, she produced a substantial pie and a flask of water, which she slipped between the bars of our cell. Eat all of the pie, smash the flask when you have drunk the water, and hide the pieces in a dark corner, she said. If the soldiers find it, they might suspect me. Marut, partly because she depends on me to help her with her pain, still believes in me. I've also brought the silver moon and the black egg. I suggest that each of you conceals one of them about your person. They are unlikely to search you again. What are we to do, Uni? Wise Child asked, her mouth full of pie. Play it as it comes, naturally, Uni said in no very sympathetic tone. I will be around to help as much as I can, but I don't envy you. Tomorrow may be rather nasty. It was typical of Uni not to make things seem rosier than they were. Trust in the power of the Dorans, she added as an afterthought. I do, said Wise Child, but whether I will if I am tortured. Well, you'll find out, I expect, Uni said robustly. I must get back. I might be missed. I am doing what I can to control the situation. Good night. And with that she was gone, leaving us in the dark. Wise Child and I finished the pie and drank all the water, then smashed the flask as Uni had instructed. Good night, Colman, Wise Child said after a painful pause. Good night, Wise Child. It was a while before either of us fell asleep. We lay dreading the morning.